Hey folks, Jaime here from ProServeIT. Welcome to this month's edition from Tales from the CTO. This month, we're going to chat around resiliency, specifically as it relates to your technology strategy. And one of the things I think that's getting a lot of airplay in the news today, and obviously, I think is impacting business strategy, impacting how we're making investments, impacting decisions we're making relative to our industry and everything else that's going on, is a potential recession and what that could mean from an economic position, what it could mean in terms of investments inside our business, and what it could mean just in general. So usually when I think about kind of what that means or how to overlay that, let's call it recession condition, to your technology strategy, is to make sure that we've got a framework that allows us to prioritize and analyze these types of investments we have or potential to have relative to a framework. So for us, I think I've shared this in the past, but if not, we view technology holistically through the lens of a house. We feel that this metaphor really allows us the freedom to have technology conversations, but through an actual natural language metaphor. For example, we're able to do renovations, build the house from scratch, fix a leaky roof. All sorts of different types of analogies apply. And for that analogy, we kind of have 7 key elements of technology. We have security, which is our base foundation, so to speak. It's kind of one of those things where if your foundation in your house isn't secure, everything else falls apart. Exact same thing from technology. It needs to be secure by default. On top of that, we've kind of have 4 rooms. We have our infrastructure room, which is kind of like how traditional IT, so our servers, network, backups, etc., kind of lives in here, and we do need to have a strategy specific to that. We have our departmental applications, which is the applications that are functional in nature, whether it's sales or finance or accounting platform, etc. Typically, we've got multiple departmental applications that we use inside of our business to get things done. We have our brand experience, and really this has 2 lenses to it. We have the internal lens, employee experience, i.e., what are the tools that we invest in that help us attract, retain, and grow employees? And from an external perspective, customer experience, what are those tools that we invest in that help us attract, retain, and grow customers? So kind of those 2 lenses, employee and customer, make up our brand experience. Final room on kind of that main floor, so to speak, is productivity. These are those tools that help make us effective and efficient at work. So whether that's email, collaboration tools, instant messaging tools, etc. On top of that, we tend to find that most businesses tend to have kind of that one business application, that one application that runs their business, runs their manufacturing plant. Everyone in the business uses it. It's kind of the most important application that you have. And because of that, it's core to your strategy, and it needs to have special consideration over how we're going to invest in it, how we're going to integrate it, how we're going to take advantage of it. And finally, the roof of the house is insights and automation, i.e., how do we leverage the data that the rest of our house provides in order to make actionable, predictive decisions, leveraging the data that we have at our disposal. So when we take that framework and we take the technology strategy, so to speak, and we say, okay, what would a potential recession do? And I like to look at that and say, okay, we have these rooms in this house, and I think depending on where you sit today, and depending on what's important to your business, you may force rank these rooms differently. So let's say you're in a highly regulated industry, security might be more important than if you're not in an unregulated environment. If you are in a if you are in a manufacturing environment, maybe your core business application, because it's literally how you monetize and run everything, it is so important to the fact where it might even be as much as 2 other rooms combined. Or maybe the productivity is less important because most of your workers are frontline and actually don't use technology to get work done. And therefore, not that productivity is not important, it's just less important than for a business that might have more knowledge workers, so to speak, more people that sit in front of a PC. So to contextualize this from a recession perspective, typically we want to take 2 lenses to this. We want to go, okay, do we need to underinvest or de-invest in any kind of initiative we have on the go. So if there's stuff that's perhaps low importance, low urgency, that becomes really easy. Not important right now. We'll defer that for later. If there's things that are low importance, high urgency, same idea. We probably shelve those and make a decision on, okay, if it's really important, we would have done it, even if it is urgent. And then finally, we get into, kind of the two important categories where it's important, not urgent, and important and urgent. Typically, I think it goes without saying is that we'll focus our energy on the urgent and important items. And I think that applies here from a technology perspective, saying, okay, what is most important? Do we need to shore up our weaknesses or invest in strengths? Or are we kind of sitting well from, let's call it a cash position? We expect there to be an impact in our industry, but we want to be prepared to kind of catapult, so to speak, at the tail end of this recession. So does that mean that we want to invest in some of our core business systems right now to be able to ramp up production with anticipated spike in demand, again, at the end of the recession, or some of those other external pieces that could influence demand down the road? So some of those things could be levers that influence how we decide. And I think using a framework like this really helps us gauge, is our technology strategy resilient, and how can we adapt it to any kind of market conditions, whether that be recession or something else entirely. If you have any questions, we'd love a conversation about how this applies specifically to you. I know this is really speaking in generalities, and like anything, this stuff really has impact when we talk about it specifically for your business. So please reach out, cto@ProServeIT.com. We'd love a conversation anytime you're ready. Thanks.